Hello, everybody. Samuel here once again, and we are continuing our SAC SAP Analytics Cloud training course. We last left off finishing our numeric point charts. So, in this section of our series, we are in the charts section. Previous video was numeric point charts. Now we're going into bar charts. Once again, this series is for my friends that are in data analysis, data analysts with Tableau, Jupyter, Microsoft, BI, Python. Now, this SAP it stands for Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. And we're dealing with ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, Enterprise Resource Management, software companies. SAP initially came from Germany, but it is a international company, and their software is designed to integrate various business functions into a centralized system that enables businesses to maintain operations and customer relations effectively. So within your enterprise resource planning, enterprise resource management tools, you have your CRM, your customer relationship management software as well. And SAP has dozens of solutions. Once again, software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. But let's get back into point. So log back into your SAP Analytics Cloud, so SAC account, and let's go ahead and click on the three bars at the top left, which is our navigation panel, navigation bar. And we're going to go ahead and go to our apps, and under apps, we're going to go to stories. So in recent files, you're going to have a couple of options. We could click straight into the previous file that we've done together, which I have management dashboard, or if it's not there because you're using a company account and not one of the trials, you could click on my files and you'll find it in there. Remember to use the story, which is it's a little icon with a presentation board with a vertical bar chart, and it's not the template. So to save time, I'm just going to click on management dashboard. Now, I actually already recorded this video, but the audio went out halfway through, sadly. So this is like my third time redoing it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete charts that I already have. But before you do that, you have to click on edit. So at the top right, you're going to change from view to edit. And one thing that I've noticed that's annoying is it always pops open the navigation panel. I just find that to be extremely annoying to close it each time. And now I said all of that very fast. So once again, once you start up your dashboard, it's going to start in view mode at the top right. You're going to click on edit to the left of it. If you aren't already, I would hold down control and zoom back with your mouse until it goes to 80% is kind of where I like to operate on my zoom. So once we're in edit mode and once we've go ahead and zoom to the correct amount, let me restate what we're doing. In this lesson, we're going to create multiple bar charts, and this is a walkthrough of the main configuration options. Okay, so now, first, we're going to switch into the edit mode, which we've done, and we're going to insert a new chart into our canvas board here. So at the top of the screen, you should see the insert section, and in the insert section is a horizontal line bar chart and icon. Click it, and it is going to insert a bar chart. By default, SAC inserts a bar chart or a column chart since that is the system standard chart type. Okay, once we have done that, for our first example, let's choose sales as the measure. So on the right-hand side, you're going to see measures, and you're going to see this, how it says at least one measure is required. Okay, so we're going to click that, and in the search bar, we're going to type in sales. Now, yes, you can see it already, but I need you to get used to doing this with me, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So I'm going to check mark sales. Now, I'm going to give you a special training tip that took me a couple years, and it sounds stupid, right? But I was always like, why the hell can't I go back? There's 3 ways to go back instantly. One way is to click into our canvas, blank space, then re-click our chart, and we could see measures again and dimensions, okay? The second way, okay, sales, which is what they intended, but it just doesn't go mentally. You don't think it. In between the canvas and this black space and the scroll up and down bar, you can actually click on the scroll up and down bar, or the space in between the measures, right? So where you have this measures box and this canvas and the scroll bar is a blank white space. If you click in there, it's going to bring you back. And okay. The third option is after you click sales and you're like, what the hell? Why can't I go back? Come down to open available objects. And this is going to expand it, and then you could close it. But that's a giant waste of time. So just click in the space in between measures and the black canvas, or your background, your dashboard background. Okay, let's just say that. So if your data set has many measures or dimensions, it's faster to type in the names directly into the search field. And that is why I'm trying to get you used to it. So next, we're going to add a dimension so that we can compare across groups. Okay. So we're going to come to add dimension here. And in this dimension, we're going to go ahead and add segment. So SEG, segment, boom. There we go. Perfect. And now we have our first bar chart comparing our sales by segment. We have consumer segment and we have our corporate segment. So this is important. So this area that we're working in is the builder section. Okay, dimensions, you can see the color. So under this builder, you're going to see here, it's a wrench, right? It's a adjustable wrench and a Phillips screwdriver or a flat tip screwdriver like this, like a commie sign, right? But under our dimensions here, we have our colors for our measurements, and we can change the pattern or the color. Now, this is inconsistent with what we've been doing because we've already adjusted the styling with our template previously. So let's take a quick look at the styling tab. Okay, so we're in the builder tab. At the top right is a paintbrush and the word styling. On our right panel, we're going to click on styling now. In styling, you have to scroll down for quite some time. You might not be able to see it too well, but right here between consumer and corporate and our blue horizontal bar chart is a solid black line. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down in chart for a while. There we go. Boom. Now we're in the axis section. And I'm going to change this to red just so you could see it. This wasn't supposed to be here. Okay, there's some kind of bug in the system that where even when we did it in our template, it didn't transfer over. We're going to convert our axis line to nothing, invisible. Boom, and now it's gone. And even though we already defined this axis in our previous theme, it was still showing a black. So I recommend that we also rename this to let's just change it to segment. You could just change this to segment. There we go. And to make another bar chart, you know what? Let's fix this first. Let's go ahead and make it match up. What do we got here? 6 bars. All right. And I don't know why, but it's not. And we're going to scroll over and we're going to make it 1 bar across. Boom. So I left 1 bar there perfectly in between with the spaces. So now to save time, there's a few ways to do this. We're going to hit Control C and we're going to hit Control V and we're going to paste it in. Boom, put it right underneath our total sales. And let's make this one 11 big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There we go. Now, in this copy, we're going to remove this segment and we're going to rename this as market. So I'm going to name this market, and we're going to switch back to builder, okay, because we were in styling. And our dimensions for this, once again, was segment. We're going to delete those and we're going to add in market. So I'll put in mark. Now, when I type in mark, we see both market and market hierarchy. This is important, actually. We're going to be using later on market hierarchies. But for now, we're just going to use the flat list. Boom. So there we go. Now we have our market. This is something interesting to take into point. By default, SAC sorts dimensions alphabetically from the APAC market all the way down to the NAR market. And you know what I noticed too is it just has EME instead of EMEA. And most of the time we have EMEA. So that's actually something that I'll work on maybe fixing for us later if it's possible. But I guess that's on our that's on our data sheet that we did. So anyways, a good practice is to sort your charts by values rather than by names. And this is just like any type of sports ranking system that you would do. You don't really sort your sports teams by alphabetical order. Okay. Most of the time you're going based off of ranked. Okay. So you're going to know, hey, my team is rank 4, rank 5, starting off with the best and coming down. You don't normally look at sports teams alphabetically. You look at them by ranking. You kind of know where your team is ranked if you're keeping track, if you're a sports guy. Maybe you're just a UFC fighter guy. But anyways, let's come in here and let's adjust this. So we're going to go ahead and click at the top right on our 3 dots, and we're going to go into sort. And then in sort, we're going to go to sales. And then in sales, we're going to do highest to lowest. Boom. There we go. Now the chart is much more meaningful. This information is much more useful. And let's create a third chart by copying and pasting the market chart again. So Control C, Control V, boom. Great, it autofilled in the exact spot I wanted. And this time we're going to go ahead and instead of it being a market chart, this is going to be a by country. We need to look at our sales by country. So let's go ahead and do that. And our dimensions for this, remember, it's still set to market. So we need to delete market and we need to come in here and we need to put in country. Boom. This is great. But as you notice, there's too much data in here. And since the country includes too many entries, we should highlight the top performing ones. Now, remember, what's good is by us copying and pasting the charts instead of creating a new one is we're actually saving a lot of time, guys. Because remember, in our market, what did we do? We sorted by highest to lowest value. If I had went in here for each chart and insert new chart, I'm wasting valuable time, and time is money. So we need to be working, getting as much done as possible, not necessarily because we're rushing for our company, but to be efficient people. We want to be the best version of ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and go scroll over for our country chart, and we're going to open the rank options. So click on the triple dots. And I guess you would call this what? Actions? What is this? I never actually call it by its name. There we go. And once we do this, we're going to go ahead into our rank. And in our rank, we're going to go to country. And in our country, we're going to go to top. And into our top, it lets you choose how many you want. And we're going to choose a value, the top 10 countries. There we go. All right. Now, let's duplicate again, maybe our 4th bar. And yeah, this category, let's do a different category. So I'm going to go ahead and copy country, right? And I'm going to paste it here underneath market. There we go. There we go. And this time for let's see here. Let me think what I'm going to change this one to. Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll change this to category. So category. There we go. And we're going to do for our dimensions 2 dimensions. We're going to do category as our first and subcategory as our second. So we'll delete country and we'll type in cat. There we go. And we have category. And then we have subcategory. Boom. There we go. And we already updated the title. Now, you're going to notice the chart is showing 2 columns, both category and subcategory, sorted by subcategory sales. It's not too good. If we'd rather sort by category, let's deselect the break grouping option and then sort by the break grouping option. So what does that mean, Samuel? Okay. So for the chart, click on More Actions. That's what it's called. The More Actions triple dot button. So remember that, right, with our terminology. And we're going to go into our sort. And under sort, you're going to see break grouping. We're going to uncheck mark that. Boom. There we go. Now we have cameras, TVs, and audio and hi-fi. It's breaking it up better for us. Now the order starts, it just seems much better. Now currently each chart scales bar lengths are based on the widget size. So all these charts, these links are based off of the widget size. To enforce consistent scaling across our charts, we're going to go to the charts menu, open tools, and add scaling based off of sales. That's something we can do. So we could come up here to tools. We could go to more actions. We could go to, okay, so first of click keeping our category selected. We're going to go to tools at the top center of the screen. We're going to click on the more options for tools and click on chart scaling. Okay. Now we're going to add to our scaling based on, let's say, sales. Boom. All right. There we go. Now this aligns all our charts to the same bar length scale. But for this dashboard, we're going to remove the scaling to keep the layouts more flexible. Okay. But I'm going to show you another trick. So I'm going to uncheck mark this, but I want this to be more flexible. Now, another trick for cleaner layouts is to align your charts, guys. So let's take a look at our segment chart here, right? We can come here to our axis, right? Remember how we made it invisible and I have my mouse directly over it and it's blue now? We're looking at the center top of the screen, right in between consumer in the segment bar chart and the 17,295 horizontal. And we're going to drag this out. Boom. And look, guys, you're going to see a checkered pattern gray mark. And that makes it lined up perfectly with our country bar chart here. It's actually really nice. So in this case, it's great. And you know what? Let's try and align our market chart with our category. There we come. Boom. Nice. But it looks really strange with this, I would say, empty space here. So I'm going to edit, undo that. But so that's what we're going to leave. So after resizing our charts, our page, it's fitting together neatly. All right. And with that, we're going to save and we're going to move on to the next part, which is going to be our final charts for this first dashboard. Great job, guys. Come up here to File and come up to Save. And thank God we finally finished this video. No, I'm just kidding. I'll see you for the next one.